Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your patience. I was just finishing up with another channel who is still technically live, excuse me, and I was also finishing to take some notes for this live as well. So today I'm going to be reviewing the movie Stigmata. And I know a lot of you are religious people, and Stigmata might have a special significance. I'm not doing this review to convert people or to prove or disprove that Stigmata is a real thing or not. I'm just simply discussing the movie and some of the you know, elements that the movie is talking about. So hopefully none of you will be offended by anything I say. Again, I'm not doing this to offend anybody, but simply discuss a particular movie. So again, the movie today is going to be Stigmata. So we're going to do that in a second. As usual, as you guys know, we're going to start this in a second with my little video. Let me find it. There we go. So after this a little commercial break, we're going to start doing the show. So thank you guys for being back here with me today in my channel during my live. So again, we are going to be talking about the movie Stigmata. So let's get into it, guys, without any further delays here. So let me just queue up a website that I will need. Give me a second here. There we go. All right, guys. So the movie Stigmata is a movie from 1999. So it's about 23 years old, and it starred Patricia Arquette, as well as Gabrielle Bryan, Jonathan Price, Mia Long, and Raid Sherbenza. Um, so basically, the movie follows the two main characters, the Patricia Arquette character of Frankie Page and Gabriel Bryan, who's a Jesuit priest by the name of Father Andrew Kierman. Now, what happens is that Patricia Arquette's character, Frankie, is an atheist who fell out from the Catholic Church. She's no longer a believer, but then she gets these mysterious wounds on her hands and feet, and is going through a certain amount of religious revelations. And of course, as an atheist, she does not make the connection right away. She goes to her regular doctors to figure out what could be happening, what's going on. Of course, the doctors have no clue, have no idea, don't know what's going on, how to help her, etc. They can just give her basically, some pain medication and that kind of thing, and that's about it. Of course, Father Andrew is a Jesuit priest who investigates miracles and hears through the grapevine that there's this young lady that's going through these mysterious wounds on her hands and feet, and he's the one who makes the connection that this could be stigmata. So, for those of you that don't know, stigmata, and we will get into this a little bit later, is when you have individuals who go through the same wounds that Jesus went through during his crucifixion. Okay, so that's the general belief. And again, guys, I'm not here telling you that this is real, that this is not real. If you are Catholic and believe that it is true, I'm not here to tell you you're wrong. If you're atheist, and I'm not telling you that this is the real thing. I'm just telling you guys about this movie and really what it is saying, right? So, of course, Frankie, i.e., Patricia Arquette's character, of course, does not believe any of this stuff is real, that it's genuine. She believes basically maybe she's going crazy, that somebody's maybe attacking her. So, of course, the whole movie is following her journey through this event and really discovering that this is a real thing that's really happening to her. And at the end of the movie, we discover it's a little bit more than just her going through all of this, because through the course of the movie, um, she receives all five wounds of the stigmata. So the two wounds on her wrists, the two wounds on her legs, and of course on her forehead, where the crown of thorns were placed on the forehead of Jesus, right? So she goes through all of that. And that's when basically she goes through a kind of possession, but not really a demonic possession. But she's now all of a sudden able to speak Aramaic and Italian, where these were not languages that she knew before, or was at least enough to speak those languages enough to be comfortable in. Um, and of course she then starts talking and prophesizing in this really weird, gospel, and that everybody's trying to figure out what is she talking about, what is she saying, and so forth. And of course, it's discovered that she's quoting from the Gospel of Thomas, a gospel that was rejected, I believe, at the Council of Nicaea, I believe, but I'm not 100% sure on that, guys. So don't quote me on that. It could have been rejected later on. The Council of Nicaea, for those of you that don't know, is the first council of the first Christian believers that basically dictated what is to be considered as Christian doctrine, what is to be considered as the Bible, not the Bible, etc. So they're the first ones to decide what the Catholic faith would look like, or the Christian faith, I should say, because at this point there was no Catholic or Protestant or Orthodox, it was Christian faith, right? So this was the first attempt to unify all the Christians behind one belief, and they're the ones that were the first to decide what was going to be part of today's Bible. And ironically, it's also the first, ultimate division, because of course a lot of the first Christians did not accept what the Council of Nicaea dictated. Of course, in the Gospel of Thomas, according to the movie, and again, guys, I'm not saying that the movie is presenting something that is truthful fact. or that it's complete fiction. I'm just telling you what the movie is about. Um, in the for the movie, the gospel, as to say, of Thomas is preaching that we, the people, we, the common folk, are the church, and not the building, not the institution of Catholicism. That we are the kingdom of God, and therefore we're the ones that are to be, the freedom of it, and it's through us and us alone that we go to heaven, and that the route to the kingdom of God is through us and not through uh, the church itself, right? Um, so of course, it ends with them showing that the fact that the Gospel of Thomas has been rejected and is considered as heresy. And we'll see that as well in the movies such as Da Vinci Code, where of course the Catholic Church is demonized, and saying, "Oh well, we want to keep our power," because of course for many people, if it's not coming from the Catholic Church itself, it is not gospel, it is not truthful, it is heresy. So consequently, for a lot of people, they're not going to follow or consider the Gospel of Thomas. So we'll get into a little bit more of the details, in particular, what is stigmata, and we'll talk a little bit of the Gospel of Thomas a little bit later on. But I'll give you guys my basic thoughts on the movie because it is a movie review, after all, and not necessarily a talk on religion and all those types of stuff, right? So let's just see. Hello, hello, Stiza Ella. How are you? Hello, of course, MC King and Ma'am Bless. Thank you guys for being here. I hope all of you are doing well on this Saturday morning. Well, it's a Saturday morning for me. It's 9:20 on a Saturday morning for me. So I hope all of you guys are doing well today. I'm just gonna change the music. I don't really like this particular song. Let me find a different song here. Give me a second, guys. And let's try this one, maybe. Yeah, this one's much better. There we go. Okay. So, what are my thoughts on the movie? Of course, it's been a while since I've seen this movie. I found it very interesting, to be honest. At the time, I did not know a whole lot about Stigmata, so for me, it was a big learning lesson, and I found it very interesting. Um, and although in real life, most people that go through stigmata are believers who are trying to connect even more to Jesus and their faith, I found it interesting that you had somebody here that was an atheist. So somebody that no longer believed in God or did not ever believe in God at all, who was going through this, sort of as a way. I guess it was used as a tool in the movie to like really emphasize that, hey, if this non-believer can go through this, to sort of validate the experience of the Christian faith, of the Catholic faith, sorry, because this is something, stigmata is something that, and again we'll talk about a little bit later, is something that is atypical for those in the Catholic faith. Um, so it's really used as a way to say, hey, if this atheist can go through this, that means it validates the experience of true believers, of Catholic people around the world, right? Um, I kind of like and dislike that idea at the same time. It's interesting to see that they were using this as a way to sort of communicate their faith to people. Good morning, Black Money Corp. How are you? I hope you're doing well. Thank you for being here. I'm talking about the movie Stigmata, but I will get into a little bit of the religious meaning and symbolism in the movie in a bit as well. So that's one of the things that I did like or find interesting in the movie, that they did use this whole idea that there was an atheist that was going through this, and not a true believer who believed in the gospel and every last little thing of the Catholic faith. Um, Another thing that I did learn a little bit through my research is that it is often mostly women, but not necessarily as much nowadays. But for a long time, it is mostly women that were going through stigmata. So, of course, Patricia Arquette is a woman, so that is fairly typical of the experience. Um, and I did like the fact that they tied into as well the Gospel of Thomas, which is a gospel that was not included in the Catholic Bible, which has 26 books in it, but it does not have the Gospel of Thomas. There is some debate whether this is a gospel that should or shouldn't be included. It was found in Egypt in 1954 by Nag Hammadi in 1945. Okay, in Egypt, like I said, in the Middle Desert, amongst many other books or works as well. So yeah, it was really interesting to sort of revisit this movie, especially since for a while Gabriel, the actor that played Father Andrew, had played a father in like two, three other movies, including The End of Days, in by Arnold Schwarzenegger, etc. So it was just interesting that for a while he was basically a priest or a Catholic priest for a while in pretty much a lot of his movies. So it was really interesting just to be reminded of that he was just basically this face of religion for a while. Um, so yeah, so we'll get into a little bit more now the idea of the Catholic Church and so forth. But the last thing I'll say about the movie Stigmata was I like the fact that it really didn't play into too much of the special effects and uh, atheism is horrible and Catholicism is great and fantastic and wonderful. They really played that look, both sides have their good and bad, both sides have things that are, things that should be talked about and discussed, other things that have, a certain amount of reverence to them, etc. And really just letting individuals come to their own discovery, their own conclusion that faith is not something that you have to force upon people, that it's something that you have to kind of step into, and the faith is something that you discover through your experience and not something that is hammered onto you by outside people telling you have to be this or else. You kind of come into it through experience, right? So we'll get into that idea of stigmata itself, okay? And again, guys, I'm not out here trying to tell you that stigmata is real or fake. I just figured that it's a great segue to talk about the idea of stigmata and really let you guys make your own conclusions if you haven't already done so about the phenomenon. So stigmata, like I said before, is the belief that people are suffering the same wounds that Christ did. At first, it was the wounds in the palm of the hands and on the feet, because that's where it was believed at it for a very long time that the crucifixion occurred. But as research came out and there was more and more studies being done about crucifixions in general, not just the one of Jesus, it was found that it was crucifixion was rather done on the wrists of the hands and on the feet, as the this would have been more sturdy and kept the body up in the crucifixion pose a lot longer and a lot more stable. So of course the wounds went from the palms of the hands in the people that believed that they were going through this to the wrists and then the feet. And then later on in the 20th century, a fifth wound also started to appear, where it was the crown of throne, thorns, sorry, on the head, on the forehead, and so forth. And oftentimes at that point, once the person received all five wounds, so two on the wrist, two on the feet, and the crown of thorns, thorns. Sorry, I'm having trouble with that word today. Um, a lot of times, these individuals would have prophecies, would have visions, would start speaking in tongues, etc., etc. This was a sign of great belief in the faithful, particularly, like I said, the Catholic. This is something that is typically a Catholic experience. This is not something that you're really going to see in the Protestant churches. So think of anything other than Catholic Church. There are some people in the Eastern Orthodox practitioners that go through this, but the Orthodox Church has not pronounced for it, against it, has not made any kind of stance on stigmata as well. The first person to have received stigmata was Saint Francis of Assisi. We're not going to talk about too much of the details. Again, guys, you know me, I don't do very long lives and go into deep, deep details of things. For me, that's really, not interesting. It's more boring than anything else. But if you guys ever one day want me to go into more details about a particular topic or person, just let me know. So most of the stigmata cases also occur after the Great Schism of 1054, when you saw the division between the Latin Church, which was the Western Church or Roman Catholic, and the Eastern Church, either the Orthodox Church, basically the Greek Church. Um, so basically, most of the stigmatas are occurring in the Western Church, so the Latin or Roman Catholic Church, again, mostly by women. The numbers vary from 80% of the cases being of women, so over 400 cases, most of them are women, to 90%. But again, in more recent times, it is mostly men, or there are more and more men, particular priests, which, of course, in the Catholic Church can only be men. There's been many studies on, the stigmata and whether it's real or fake. So, of course, for theologians and Christian belief, it is a sign of your faith or desire to renew your faith or go more deep into your faith. But of course, for the scientific world, for a lot of people, it is pure propaganda and hoax and really just complete fiction. Although for some scientists, it's not necessarily that it's a hoax, but that you have individuals that are generally trying to connect with their faith and use this and self-inflagellate these wounds to themselves to sort of connect to their Lord and to Jesus and His experience. So it's not necessarily that they're faking it, but that they're just trying to connect to their faith. Hello, hello, the Bud Files. How you doing? I hope you're enjoying this show. I am talking about the movie Stigmata, but I'm giving you guys a little bit of background of the idea of stigmata in of itself. And again, I'm not here to convert people to Catholicism or Christianity. I'm just talking about the experience. You guys are smart enough to make your own decision as to whether you believe stigmata is a real thing or not, or whether you want to follow the Christian faith or not. So pretty much that's the go around of stigmata. And again, guys, I'm not here to, you know, convert you guys, just talking about the experience. So, of course, in the movie, they talk about the Gospel of Thomas, which is a gospel that has gotten more and more attention over the years. I think it was talked about briefly in the Da Vinci Code, or at least referred to indirectly in the movie. And of course, the Gospel of Thomas is the main document that is being referred to in the movie Stigmata. Like I said before, it was discovered by Nag Hammadi in Egypt in 1945, amongst many other books that are now considered as the Library of Nag Hammadi. It was written in the Coptic language at about 250 AD, and it's reserved as the Sayan's Gospel, okay, because it's not talking about the life or the teachings of Jesus and his miracles and deeds or his death, but rather the things that he says. So they're just sharing the general knowledge of Jesus and his life sayings and things that he was trying to get people to sort of think about and try to change in their lives, etc. And it is thought to be one of the proto-Gnostic Gospels of the Catholic Church of the Christian faith because it was written by one of the first Christians out there and really out there to teach other Christians about the Christian faith, right? And it is now kept in the Coptic museums. And there are, of course, several translations of the Gospel of Thomas. To this day, the Catholic Church, in fact, most Christian churches do not accept the Gospel of Thomas as a true, genuine gospel. Although there are some debates as to what is a gospel, what isn't. The Gospel of Thomas, for the most part, is not considered a true Christian gospel, and for the most part, is not found in most Bibles that you'll find in uh, today's Bibles. There are about 40 different versions of the Bible, so you might find one with the Gospel of Thomas. They're quite possible, but for most Christians, for most faithful, the Gospel of Thomas is not considered a genuine gospel, a genuine text of the Bible. But we can go through it together today. We'll read a few of the lines together. Of course, I'm reading a translation of it because obviously I don't speak Coptic, I don't speak Arabic. These are not languages that I know, that I understand. So, of course, I'm going to be reading the translation of Thomas O. Labdin, um, which is, of course, one of the many translations of this gospel. So the first three lines are as follows. And he said, whoever finds the interpretation of these things will not experience death. Jesus said, let him who seeks continue seeking until he finds. When he finds, he will become troubled. When he becomes troubled, he will be astonished, and he will rule over all. Jesus said, if those who lead us say to you, see the kingdom in the sky, then the birds will of the sky will precede you. If they say to you, is this it is in the sea, then fish will precede you. Rather, the kingdom is inside of you and it is outside of you. When you become to know yourself and you will become known, you will realize that it is you who are the sons of the living Father. But if you not know yourselves, you dwell in poverty, and it is you who are the poverty. Okay, so and that's the whole basis of the movie Stigmata is those basic lines that we are the kingdom of God, right? It's not the church. It's not the church in of itself. It's everything, right? It's the food, it's the birds, it's the animals, it's other people, it's ourselves, right? And you have to first and foremost start with yourself, right? You have to start with that inner analysis and really try to connect with that outside force that's above and beyond you, right? Within yourself, first and foremost, right? Um, so, as you saw, if you try to connect with other things first and foremost, with the birds, with the other stuff, those others will get to heaven before you do. So, and that's kind of what I found interested in this movie as well, is that sort of that desire to detach. Hello, hello, Robert's Garage. How you doing? I hope you're doing well today. So yeah, so that was the whole point of the movie, right? Was to sort of get people to reconnect to their faith, but through our own internal journey, and to realize that in order to truly connect to Jesus, to your faith, that you have to start first and foremost with yourself and really do that inner search, and really try to see, well, why, when we sin, why am I doing this, right? What's going on with me? And if you're not doing that self analysis, if you're not looking inward, you're just going to continue being poor, being selfish, being greedy, being whatever it is, right? Good, good. I'm glad you're doing well, Robert. So you really have to, in order to connect with the church, with other people, with Jesus, with whatever it is that you want to connect with, you have to first and foremost start with yourself. So of course, for a lot of people in the Catholic faith, this might be, something that's considered heretical or misleading or not quite true, but that's what this movie is talking about. So of course the movie was, you know, in some cases poorly received, in some cases very well received. It grossed over $18 million, and made $89 million worldwide on a budget of 29 million. So it had a tomato rating of 22%. So it's a fairly not very accepted movie back in the day. But I think now maybe if people rewatched it nowadays, maybe the ratings would be very different, especially after the Vinci Code and all that. But who knows? Who knows? I liked the movie overall. I found it to be a very thought provoking movie, one that really posed a couple good questions. I do see that, okay, if you're a Catholic or you're a true believer, it might seem, kind of hokey and stupid and really not presenting the experience of stigmata in a proper way. So I get some of the criticism that were made of this movie. It's certainly not perfect. It's certainly not Oscar winning and oh, it's so fantastic and perfect. But overall, I liked it and found that it was a good movie overall. Overall, like I said, there's some criticisms to be made of this movie. Hello, hello, Real. How are you? Thank you for being here and thank you for coming last night to my live last night as well. So yeah, so that's my overall thoughts on the movie. Has any one of you guys watched the movie? Let me know if you have and what your thoughts on the movie are. I always like to have, as much as a conversation. Most of you might have seen the title of the series as a movie and three talking heads, because basically I want to start this series. In the first two episodes, I was able to do that, where I had two other guests come up onto the panel and we would talk about either movies in general or about that particular movie. But unfortunately, it fell through. But I figured I'd still continue the series as it is. So hopefully, I can start back that idea where I have two other panelists come up and sort of talk about their thoughts about a movie or movies in general and so forth. So if ever you guys want to come up or want to have a movie discussion with me, let me know. I'm not that difficult to get in contact. Either send me an email or comment on one of my lives. Hey, I want to talk about this movie, that movie, whatever, and we'll take it from there. But yeah, so that's it for this morning, guys. I will be going live tonight at 7:30. I hope you guys didn't hear that noise. It was obviously a car or something. I think it was a motorcycle. I will be having my Spanish lesson tonight at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where of course for half an hour I will be learning Spanish. Hopefully with you guys as well. But even if you can't make it, I hope you guys have a great Saturday and Saturday night. So on that note, guys, I hope you guys have a great day, great weekend, and I will be seeing you guys around in these YouTube chats, in these YouTube streets. So, guys, have a great one, and I hope your day, your week goes wonderfully. And we'll end it on this note, guys. So, have a good one. Bye, everybody.